Hey guys, today's episode is going to be a little different. So my dad's friend gave me his 1997 Ford Escort. It's not a sport car. It's like this huge wagon. So it's very spacious. The car has 100,091 miles on it. It has a gauge for the fuel and the engine temperature. This is a switch for the emergency lights or indicators, hazard indicators. You have your lights and your window washer, a horn, the brightness levels, and here's the lever for the hood. Over here you have a basic console, so there's a radio and also a tape player, if you guys don't know what that is. There's controls for the ventilation, hot and cold, and air conditioning, and defrosters and just the general stuff. I was actually surprised by the audio quality. It sounds like the speakers are pretty clear compared to a lot of the stock speakers that are on cars these days. Seems like they didn't cheap out on components. Then you also have the gearbox right here, a cigarette lighter, a tray, and the emergency brake right there. And for those of you who care about cup holders, there's two right there and another one right here, and a tray for whatever you want to put there. Over here you have a glove compartment and manual windows and manual locks. Back here there's a bunch of trunk space. You can't really see it, but that's the trunk, and then these seats fold up. So let's go outside. This is the exterior of the car. It's pretty long. There's a roof rack. Then from the back, open trunk. It's kind of stuck. That's the back. Everything's just kind of rusting. So there's that stuff here. It's pretty bad on the windows. Bird poop and dirt everywhere. So with the hood open, you have your radiator coolant, window washing fluid, engine oil, brake fluid, and just all the standard stuff. The headlights are yellowing, and there's also faded paint. The interior, for the most part, is pretty clean. Now I'm going to start the car. When I researched the car, it says that it gets 28 miles in the city to 38 on the highway, which is pretty high considering it's an older vehicle, and it seems pretty heavy too. I was actually really surprised. Transmission seems to shift smoothly. I think it has like 5 gears. I'm also holding this camera with one hand, so it's probably really shaky. Here's the trunk. I took this pink carpet out. Underneath there's a spare tire, and I think that, yeah, there's a jack right there too. There's also this trunk cover right there. I'm using scrubbing bubbles to clean the engine bay. So this is what it looks like after you spray it, and this is what it looks like before. The front tire keeps deflating, so I'm going to try this slime tire sealant. This is what the stuff looks like. Says that we have to put this valve core back on clockwise to tighten it, and then it says that we have to inflate the tire, and then we'll drive 0.2 miles and check to see if the pressure has dropped. I don't have my air pump with me, so I'm going to use the bicycle pump, and it's going to take like 5 minutes of manual labor. How much pressure do we need? We can check in the doorways. So on this car, it's right here. It says that the front tire should be at 32 psi, and my mechanic told me that I should put it around 2 or 3 psi higher than that. So this is like the cold temperature when it's cold. I got it to around 35 psi, and now I'm just going to check the other tires to see if they're at the right psi too. So I drove around half a mile, and tire pressure is still around 35 psi. So I think it might take a while for it to leak, so I'll check back tomorrow. I used an orbital sander to sand off the rust, and I'm going to prime it now just to see if it looks better than it was before. I'm not trying to make it perfect, but just more presentable for when I sell it. This is after the first coat. The paint's still drying, but this is it after, and this is it before. Before, after, before, after. I finished using rubbing compound, so the car is a lot shinier. This is pretty much the final product. I still need to vacuum because the vacuum ran out of charge. I started a little bit, cleaned the interior. It's been over a day, and I'm just going to check to make sure that the tire is not leaking. There's no sign of pressure loss, but reading the gauge, it's maybe like 1 or 2 psi lower, so probably check back tomorrow or the day after to make sure that it's not leaking anymore. So I just sold the Ford Escort to a 70-year-old. Seemed like he really needed the car. I posted it on Craigslist for started at $1,700, and then he came by to look at it and he offered $500, and I gave it to him for $900. I think he was a veteran. He was on Social Security income. The challenging thing was that he was deaf, which was hard to communicate, but it seemed like he really needed it, and I'm just kind of glad that he has a car now and I was able to help him out.